welcome inside the Wells Fargo Center. It is Flyers game day. Jason Myrtetus, Chris Therien. We're actually located in different perks tonight. We're in the press box as the Flyers get set to take on the Detroit Red Wings. We'll join our radio partner, 93.3 WMMR, coming up in just a bit. But, Bundy, there's somebody missing from warm-ups, and it's Travis Sanheim.
Yeah, number 6, who's had a good year for the Flyers and certainly trying most every game, getting up the ice, adding an extra layer of offense. He'll be missed in a game like this today against a speedy Detroit team that likes to push the pace a little bit, but certainly that's another illness. There's a lot going around right now. We've had Carter Hart sick. He will be backing up tonight, but anytime you take away a really, really good defenseman that's playing well, Flyers are going to have to answer for that tonight, and that's a tough loss for the Flyers in this lineup.
Yeah, especially as it comes kind of on short order. We'll see what they do with the defensive pairings as a result, but he's a left shot been playing on the right side. How do you kind of fill the void here? Do you put Ristolainen up there with Cam York? Do you put Sean Walker with Cam York on that top pair?
Well, if you're going to try to form a top pair,
yeah,
I would put Walker there.
Yeah,
I would not put Ristolainen in that spot. I would put Walker with York. Leave York there. He's gotten used to the pace and tempo. Listen, there's going to be nights where it's going to be rough nights for number 8 because you're young, he's still learning the game, but if this is the pace we're going on, I don't think the Flyers, Jason, it's an interesting thing you said about leaving them there. Flyers can't forget who they were at the beginning of October.
Yeah.
They've overachieved beautifully.
Yeah.
But they still need to keep on course, and they're doing that. So why not just leave number 8 right there?
Yeah. Battle
against who you want to match him up against, but you got to give him some support. And that guy, for me, coming off would be Walker in terms of the work that he's done this year and as I guess who was the old coach said, having money in the bank to be able to play those minutes. For me, if I'm the coach, it's Sean Walker.
Yeah, and it's a bit of an undersized top pair, and you're going to be dealing with, on one line, you're going to be dealing with Patrick Kane, who was acquired by Detroit and in the lineup tonight. And on a different line, you got Alex DeBrincat.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a tough task on both of those lines.
Yeah, and I think it took a little while, too, just for, in terms of Patrick Kane coming in. He's got a goal or two, but he's certainly a guy they're trying to figure out a little bit of his, what to do with him. But he's a guy, too, Patrick Kane, a guy, he starts off a game really good, and it can be, you can have a rough night against him. So you got to do a good job with him early. He's also going to start feeling a lot more comfortable in his surroundings in the game. So I think that's important a little bit, too. But, listen, this is going to be a good game. Detroit went through an injury the other day with Dylan Larkin.
He's still out.
He's out. Was I missing something in that?
I don't know what happened. I can't figure.
Well, there was a cross check, but people in Ottawa looked like it was like Steve Downey running Dean McCammon in preseason.
Yeah,
I didn't see it
seemed innocuous, didn't it?
It did. But I'm missing. So anyway, nonetheless, that helps the Flyers.
Yeah,
get Dylan Larkin out of the lineup. He's their captain. Very, very good hockey player. Again, you get mid-season, Jace, sicknesses go on. Guys start getting banged up a little bit. You're out of the freshness of the early start, and welcome to the NHL schedule. So that does help, though. He's a fast forward. He likes to push the pace, and he likes to try to back defensemen up. So for a situation like that tonight, I think it's great. David Perron also is a guy who he's a dangerous player because he still finds goals here and there. He's not what he was, but he's a catalyst to the St. Louis Blues Cup. One of them, just ask Craig Berube. He's another guy, Yzerman trying to build on the go here, reconstruct this team, much like the Flyers are doing. We know he's done it before with Tampa Bay. But a good opportunity here, I think, to see the kind of newly reformed Detroit Red Wings. They're probably only about 65% of the rebuild in terms of what you're looking at.
Yeah, he's a slow. He paces himself in a rebuild to do it right. He doesn't try to microwave any of it.
Yeah, well, let's make no mistake about it. It was Steve Yzerman's team that won the Stanley Cups in Tampa.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think everybody knows that too. So again, he'll do the same here. He'll have guys that play with a lot of the fabric that he played in. You're not going to have guys that were as skilled as Steve Yzerman as a player, but certainly a guy that became a character hockey player with that skill late in his career and was a captain of 4 Stanley Cup teams. He'll do a good job rebuilding here in Detroit.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It looks like Mark Stahl, who was originally going to be scratched for Igor Zamula, looks like he may be paired with Zamula for this game. So that may be our third pair.
With Stahl and Zamula, right?
Yeah.
So we'll try to get the line.
Ristolainen and Sealer, and then maybe Walker and Cam York on the top pair.
Just as a hockey guy, I would I don't want to put Torts in the hot seat.
Yeah.
I would assume it's going to be Walker with York.
Yeah, I would think so.
I don't. Yeah, and the other thing too, right? Like it's two right-handed defensemen with York and Risto.
Well, Yorkie's a left one.
I'm sorry, Yorkie is that's right, coming off the right side.
Yeah, the only two rights they'll have in the game will be Walker and Ristolainen. Stahl will play a little bit of right side as a left shot guy.
That's the matchup. Yeah, I'm sorry, Jason. I was actually looking at the wrong guy stretching down there.
Yeah. Well, Ole Lexell's taking warm up too.
He is, and I'm not sure if they're just trying to get him out for a skate. I'm trying to count the amount of players on the ice.
Yeah, good luck.
I got him.
5 right there. 8,
you know what, Jace?
10, 11, 12, 13,
it's kind of funny. I had like 19.
17, 18. 9. I got 19 too.
Do you? I have 19. Are we missing a goalie? We are missing the other goalie. No, he's right there. Hart's in front of us.
That's 20. So there's 20. Oh, wait. I don't know. They're all moving, so it's a pain in the ass to figure out who's who, where's where. Let me ask you about Scott Lawton, Bundy.
Yeah.
Because last year he was putting up a good amount of points. He was playing some power play. We all know that that's probably not the right role for Scott Lawton at this point in his career, probably at any point in his career. But he is struggling a little bit defensively. He's made some gaffes. He's a character guy, an important guy for this team from an accountability standpoint and everything. What's he got to do to kind of get his season moving in the right direction?
Just play. Just play. Do the thing you're really good at. Stick with it. Rinse, wash, and repeat. It seems
like he's being less agitating.
He is. Yeah, you know what? That's a great point by you. And you know what, Jason? It's something I just never considered.
Yeah.
But when he's getting in guys' faces a little bit, and again, like last year, right? He was the only guy to wear the A all year, right?
Yeah.
And I think that there's an onus that comes with that. Like saying, geez, I'm the only guy with a letter. So the coach must really think something of me, and maybe I have to live up to something by wearing it.
Yeah.
This year, he might feel like other guys have taken a step forward.
Yeah.
Coots is back. He's looked like the de facto
captain.
Atkinson,
too.
And Atkinson's not – he will never wear a letter here. He should not anyway, because I don't know how long he's going to be here. He's going to be here long. So that's maybe – I don't know if that's wearing on him. But I could see how it might.
Yeah.
It might for me. I'm just thinking, well, if I wore the A and then maybe the real guy – never discredit yourself. Like Scotty Lawton deserved to wear that A, and he still does.
Yeah.
But I think he needs to be more. I think he needs to say, what did I do? What is better with my game the last couple of years than I've done this year? And I think, Jason, a very good point by you is that the agitation can make guys play better.
Yeah.
And we're
engaging for some guys.
It is. And here's our look.
It will be York and Ristolainen, it looks like, on the top pair.
Yeah.
Get a little size there. Those two played together a little bit last year. York was more on the right side last year, so he didn't play with Ristolainen a lot. But we'll see. I'm sure this is very malleable.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I know what he's doing. He's keeping the Sealer and Walker together, so he doesn't break it up.
Yep.
And just flopping down Ristolainen and subbing him in for Sanheim. I just don't like Risto in any kind of big minute spot in terms of playing defense, putting the package together.
Well, because you're going to get more D zone starts. You're going to get harder matchups.
Yes.
And sometimes you go, where I'm a big believer in slotting, Bundy. Guys playing in their proper slot allows them to be able to succeed. But when a guy has to, punch above his weight class sometimes, it doesn't look good.
Well, and you know what? And again, I'm not taking a shot at Risto. I mean, he plays hard, and I sure appreciate that effort every night. A guy goes out and works hard, and that's a lot. I just don't like him in a top pair slot. He was that in Buffalo.
Yeah.
And they never made the playoffs one single time in his until tenure. So, again, you may have these injury situations down the road. What if you miss a guy like Sanheim for a month?
Yeah.
If he's out or something, you have to figure it in. I just thought that it was just a much better play with the Walker and York than Risto playing with Sealer for one game, if that's the case.
Paling going to be centering the Flyers' second line with Joel Farabee and Cam Atkinson. Lawton will center the fourth line. Therien the top line. These are 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, whatever you want to call them. But Paling getting an opportunity with Farabee and Atkinson.
You said you like guys slotted. Mm-hmm. That's not really slotted properly at all.
Yeah,
but it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So, but I thought Paling played okay last game. Like he did a good job holding the puck in, circling back, covering up for some players. And Lawton again, like whether it's a message or not. But let me tell you, Jason. Like I look at the lines: Delorier, Lawton, and Hathaway. that may be where Lawton is now in his career.
Yeah.
He may be a fourth liner. Does that mean Paling is a second liner? Absolutely not.
Yeah, that'd be an upgradable spot
for sure.
A second line center.
For sure. But I mean, if you look at those lines, one of those things doesn't belong.
Yeah.
And when you look at the lineup. So again, Torts is working with what he's got.
Yeah.
He's got an injured defenseman that's been really important. He's got guys that he wants to get better on up forward, and guys that have deserved an opportunity.
Yeah.
I like them leaving the Tippett, Frost, and Brink thing. Just let them play.
Yeah.
Just leave them alone.
Cut the cord, let them go, right?
Just don't even talk to them for a month.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they're just brutal, but they won't be.
Yeah.
The more you leave guys play, sometimes you get a little bit more out of them.
And I like guys develop chemistry too, right?
Yeah. And the two wingers on the fourth, I mean, you can play them with anybody, so it doesn't matter.
Let me ask, Kane comes in here for the Red Wings, and over your long career, you had guys come in at the deadline, or you had guys come in whenever. You look at it, how easy, it's not easy for a player to just come into a team and integrate, no matter how good he is. Like Patrick Kane is going to the Hall of Fame eventually. He's not the same player he was. No. But you don't just come in and integrate and everybody knows how to play with you. That takes some time to figure out.
It's like they were waiting for him, weren't they?
Yeah.
Like he's like, and again, I thought this was kind of a model. Remember, I think Justin Williams did it a few years ago. Like he's didn't play the first half.
Yeah, saved himself a little bit.
Yeah, let me just come back and play a half year, and I'll be in better physically conditioned for the playoffs. And you know what, Jace? I think
Forsberg did that too.
He did. I think when you get a guy who's been as adept and as good a great a player as he's been in his career, multiple championships. I think he can probably, you don't worry about him too much.
Yeah.
You just let him come in and play because really, what you're getting. You know what you're getting in the D zone. Nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
And he's probably still going to have a lot of offensive flair in terms of going out and trying to do things the right way and trying to provide a lot more offense for this team, especially with some of these guys out of the lineup with injury.
When you're playing with a guy like Kane, and you're his line mates, you better be aware that he can get you the puck at any time.
Yes.
He's a deft playmaker.
The key to Kane, though, is the start. If you can keep that guy down early, you can keep him off. But if he scores or gets an assist in like the first 10 minutes, oh, man.
Yeah, it could be a long night.
It could be a long night because he's a real feel-it guy.
Yeah.
And, a guy that certainly he's still out in the ice. Look at him. 4 wings left. Kane's there, and there he's gone. Off he goes.
Dude, you played 1,000 games. Get back in the room already.
Yeah.
What's the matter with you?
You play more than 500, get back in the room.
Yeah, what's the matter with you? Don't spill it during warm-up. Some guys love just being out there. Can't get them off the ice. In goal tonight for Detroit is a guy that, we got to know here in Philadelphia, Alex Lyon.
Yeah.
And speaking of a guy, kind of goes on heaters, and he's been on one with this Detroit team in 6 games this year. How about a 2.13 goals against average and a gaudy 931 save? They saved Florida's season last year and started the playoffs. I sent him a text and said, congratulations. He said, for what? And I said, because you managed to put $10 million on the bench in Sergei Bobrovsky. Plan him.
You know what? He's intelligent.
Yep.
He's a smart guy. He's probably super focused. And you know what, Chase? How many goalies in this league are so great that we can't have another guy just come in and play?
Yeah.
I mean, just look at all these guys that they let go kind of here or didn't see anywhere, like Stoley, the goalie.
Yeah.
Alex Lyon. These guys are still playing. You want to know why they're still playing? Because no one out there has been able to find 64 good goalies yet.
Yeah.
And that's why if guys come in and they're playing well, keep playing. We'll keep playing you as long as you're playing well.
Yeah, and when the wheels fall off, we'll put back in the guy that we're paying all the
time. Sure, yeah.
And we'll rest him in the meantime.
Yeah. Nobody cares anymore about the goaltender's feelings.
Yeah.
Those days are gone. So if a guy's not playing well and the other guy comes in, here are the Flyers. They've had 2 guys playing well. That's a luxury.
Yeah, and Anderson gets the start tonight. Hart did get some practice today in an optional skate, but dealing with some illness, and I think he said that he got some kind of clarity on what he's been dealing with. But he is backing up tonight, and the old theory is, Bundy, if you're healthy enough to back up, you're healthy enough to play because you could get thrown in there at the drop of a dime.
Well, absolutely, and really interesting, right? Because that is usually when you're not healthy enough to get back or to get started, you don't back up either.
Yeah.
So
is that just a thing you think where he just hasn't had some practice time because he was dealing with the illness and they want to give him the extra? They're off tomorrow. They'll practice Monday, then they play Tuesday. That'll give him a chance to resharpen to get ready for Tuesday night, and it's a luxury because you got to back up. And Anderson, who is playing well.
What is he 6-1-1 or something or something? Right in the games he started.
Yeah, since the 0-3 start. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, really. Yeah, I mean, he's been terrific. So in a case like that,
thank you.
case like that, why not? Like, that's exactly what you want to see is a guy that's out doing that kind of stuff. And certainly that could play well and is a valuable backup. I was saying that before, Jace. You don't worry about Philadelphia because both goalies are playing very well.
Yep.
And you don't have to worry. Carter Hart goes in, one guy accepts it and understands he's a backup, but when he goes in, he does his job and plays great too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a luxury to have it. Other teams are just looking for one guy that can stop a beach ball at this point.
Correct.
And if you got two guys that are doing it, that's a good thing. Again, Igor Zamula and Mark Stahl will be on the third pair. No Travis Sanheim in the game tonight, and we'll see. They've lessened his minutes a little bit of late, Bundy. They've gotten him off the power play, kind of getting those minutes to a more palatable instead of 25, 26 minutes, getting them down to that 22 range.
Yeah, and that's
a big difference, right?
Jace, there's a difference. People don't understand between 2 minutes less. and I'm telling you, like, they're like, oh, how could that be? Trust me.
Yeah.
It's another 120 seconds to make another mistake.
It's 3 shifts.
It is.
Minimum.
Yeah, so what happens, I think he's had a great start. He's made the problem when I watch him, and this is not a shot at him. It's still a learned skill because he's doing it. He's been asked to do a lot. He's not Victor Hedman.
Yeah.
And that takes a very special type of player to do that. He's Travis Sanheim. I'd love to see him be so dominant in the D zone, but still get up the ice when there. But getting those minutes to a manageable 22 and a half is much better for him going down the road. You talk about slotting guys. Slotting him on the power play is not.
It's not ideal.
No, it's not.
He doesn't fit it either. It's not.
No, it'd be like I wasn't a power play guy.
Yeah.
I can handle a puck to a level certain guys. I wasn't a power play guy.
Yeah.
It's all about timing, luring guys to you, making it difficult for them to know what you're going to do. Deception. I didn't do that well. I wasn't on power play.
Yeah.
I defended like hell in the zone, and he can do that too.
You were more meat and potatoes.
Yeah. Get the puck out, defend, play hard, block shots.
I talk about it all the time, Bundy. Preventing goals is just as important as scoring them in this league. Look at the top teams in the league. They're all the ones that give up the least amount of goals, not the ones that score the most.
Could not agree more with you.
Yeah.
You're right.
You look at Vegas in the top 5, Boston in the top 5, all the teams that defend well, and they're the teams that can do damage in the playoffs as well. We don't see Detroit a whole heck of a lot anymore, but I always like seeing Detroit come to town. I'm sure you have some Detroit memories.
Not good ones.
Yeah.
Lost in 97, and just an awful finals performance. The team did not play well. It's the only building, this is a weird one, that I never won a road game in my career.
Joe Louis?
I never won a road game there.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and you know what? That went on for almost 27 years or something. Wasn't it some 20-some years where the Flyers never – and in turn, remember Chicago didn't win here?
Yeah.
Because we always talked about the one game they won. It was the one you didn't want them to win.
Yeah, exactly.
And so from that standpoint, it's kind of interesting. But, yeah, this was – Detroit was a great franchise in the late 90s, early 2000s. We all know that. They're built well. I mean, they get good people working for the team.
Yeah. They got an identity.
They do. They always have. You saw Mark Howe before the game. I mean, obviously, Hall of Famer and a Hall of Fame Philadelphia Flyer, but obviously had the ties to Detroit as a scout, his dad, and all that, and Gordie Howe. But yeah, it's you know what? I love original 6 teams. They have that history, the aura about them. No matter what, you see that wheel and the wing on those jerseys or whatever the great images from the original 6 teams. And I think the Flyers and Detroit have had some good battles over the years. This should be a good one here tonight. And again, what I like about them, I find them similar teams in a lot of ways. I know the Flyers have bought in, I think, more to Torts. Has kind of really got his claws in there.
Yeah.
In terms of his coaching and getting guys to buy in. And he does that. Like the year that they were able to take down Tampa with that Columbus team that had no business maybe winning a game in that series, and they swept them. He can do that for short periods of time. But Detroit, I'd say, is a little bit, in terms of their work ethic and the way that they come together, a little bit behind the Flyers. But still, to me, 2 models now run by good people that are certainly going to want to change their fortunes moving forward.
See, I think the thing that's interesting, too, is the way that Detroit's building. And I think the Flyers are trying to emulate, and you see some other successful teams over the last, 4 or 5 years of that depth, having depth. Carolina is a team. They don't pay anybody tons of dough, but they can spread the money around and they can have depth. You look at Tampa, I think that they had the huge break, obviously, with the tax situation there, where players can get paid less per AAV but bring home more.
Yeah,
I think that helps. But, those teams that are trying to build that way, so they have good depth are the teams that are more dangerous in the playoffs. And maybe you look at a team like Edmonton, who's got so much percentage of cap committed to 2 guys. Same thing in Toronto. You see it all over the league, and I just don't know that you can win that way.
That's not the model, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's cute to go watch Austin Matthews get 4 or 5 points and look really dominate a bunch of players that are significantly less than him. But it doesn't win you anything in May or June.
No.
Gets you an awfully nice attaboy, pat on the back.
Yeah, it gets you made the playoffs, but you're going to get the clubs out soon, so don't put them in storage for too
Same
much.
with a lot of these other teams. A lot of Edmonton's won, you know, I mean, you have plenty of them.
Yeah.
There's plenty of them. Toronto and Edmonton are, of course, the most notorious.
Yeah, they are indeed. It's going to be the Flyers and the Red Wings. We're going to join our radio audience here in just a moment. Again, no Travis Sanheim in the lineup tonight for the Flyers, out with illness. Maybe something going through the team. How quick can an illness just spread through a locker room? Between the planes and a locker room, it's not ideal.
Yeah, you know what? The planes is where you really get it because you're boxed in there. It's
Sharon oxygen. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what happens. So they get ready for it, and you know what? Nothing you can do. Guys get sick.
Yeah, guys got to step up. All right, our radio audience. Here we go. That's right. It's time for Philadelphia Flyers hockey as the Flyers get set to take on the Detroit Red Wings here at Wells Fargo Center. Flyers only have one more home game after this one in the calendar year 2023. But tonight it's Flyers in Detroit. And Bundy, it's Jason Myrtetus and Chris Therien. And Bundy, Detroit coming to town, an original 6 team. Always fun when they come to town. And they're a team that's a bit on the come right now. They get Patrick Kane. They wooed him and got him to go there, which I'm sure for a lot of Chicago Blackhawks fans is almost sacrilegious to see him in a Detroit jersey. But
right.
He's a guy that the Flyers are going to have to be on notice right away in this game to his presence, along with Alex DeBrincat.
They're the 2 guys that can hurt you. It's Kane and DeBrincat. Dylan Larkin out of the lineup tonight with injuries from an event last week against Ottawa. So they're going to have guys that are going to try to play with pace, and certainly Patrick Kane and Alex DeBrincat will be 2 of those guys. DeBrincat, again, is a guy who can really score. And you know what's interesting, Jason? We're looking at both of them. They're both guys that rely on a setup guy to pull the trigger. That'll be the key tonight, is not so much watching those guys, is watching the guy that's trying to get them the puck and to try to eliminate their time and space. Space is so big with guys like that.
Yeah.
And if you allow them to get those shots off, that's where they can hurt you. It's like Ovechkin, right?
Yep.
You know, if he doesn't have time, he's not going to do anything. He didn't have a lot of it the other night. The same formula tonight should go into DeBrincat and Kane. But at the same time, Detroit has some guys similar to the Flyers. Maybe you're not aware of them totally as other teams look at the Flyers from the Western Conference. But they have guys that work, that want to stay, that want to prove something. And I think the Flyers and Detroit are kind of similar in a lot of ways, that they're both trying to climb with good hockey people running their organizations now.
Detroit comes into the game in the 4th spot in the Atlantic Division. They've got a record of 15-10-4, 34 points, plus 13 in goal differential, third highest in the conference.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty good indicator for you that they're a pretty fundamentally sound team.
Well, I'm always a believer. I mean, you go through it. Usually the top 8 teams are plus on their 5-on-5 play for goals. And it's amazing. For some reason, I mean, all the stats they say, look at the 9th place team. They're usually like -1.
Yeah.
-2. But that is an interesting one. And you know what? That is how you build teams. Good 5-on-5 teams. Good team defense. Buying into a system. And much like the Flyers, who are very much plus as well, like Detroit, that's how you do it. You got to have a coach, and you got to have an organizational structure that tells guys, this is how we do our business here. This is how we play. And this is why we've had championships and good teams over years. Again, the Flyers, like I say, they won a cup in 1975. Doesn't matter. They've had a lot of great teams.
Yep.
Only one team wins a Stanley Cup. It's the most overrated thing in all of sports for every sport because there's tons of great players that have never won championships.
Yeah.
So I say that the Flyers right now are trying to get this thing right, like Detroit and Steve Yzerman are as well.
Flyers come into this game as we sit here on December 16th. By the way, happy birthday to my son.
Thanks, buddy.
Evan is 17.
Evan? Yeah, I thought you were wishing me. You're calling me your son.
No,
that was 2 days ago.
You're older than me.
Happy birthday, Evan.
Yeah, 17
Great
now.
kid, yeah. Right behind my son.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, last month, yeah.
I think your son my son's a third of your kid's size.
Doesn't matter. They were buddies when they were little kids,
Yeah,
too.
they used to play knee hockey back in the hallway.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
They're little guys. Flyers on December 16th, 29 games in, Bundy, are sitting in the 3rd spot, 1 point back of the Islanders, and just 5 or 6 points back of the division-leading Rangers. Record of 16-10-3, 6-2-2 in their last 10, plus 10 in goal differential. And really, since November 1st, they're a team that's been at the top of the NHL standings. in that period of time till now.
Playing excellent hockey and, doing it collectively. I think a lot of it's been some excellent goaltending at opportune times in games, making those big stops. But it's been a lot of heroics, a lot of comebacks, a lot of good efforts in the third. The time where we thought the Flyers would get down 1-0, we'd written them off pretty much, has changed dramatically since the two games against Pittsburgh. They've come back a couple more times even since those two games. So it's been really, really good, really fun to watch. And I think one of the things I tell people about coming out of the building, you want to see a good effort, a fun night, come down to the Wells Fargo Center because it's much, much different than what we'd seen in the past. I mean, it's night and day.
You'll feel it in the first 5 minutes of the game. It just
sure
feels
will.
different here.
Yep.
And they play a much more exciting brand of hockey than the collapse and structure maybe they played with a little bit last year. That was maybe the foundation, but this year they really pushed the pace, and it's a much more exciting brand of hockey.
They, as the coach says, they play with mojo.
Yeah.
Use a different word, but we all know. You know what they do, though? They play hard. They go out and they say in the third, listen, we're down. What do we got to lose? Everybody wrote us off anyway.
Don't change anything.
Don't change. Go after it, boys. You know what? If you win, you're going to feel great. And if you don't get it tonight, well, you sure put in a hell of a valiant effort.
Bundy, the statistics for the first team that scores in the league are very pronounced.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is teams, they go down a goal and they're scared to death to go down 2 goals and make a mistake. How do you just stick to what you do and not let we're down 1-0? It's one goal.
That's when you have really good team DNA that just gets that done.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, boys, we got one. You just go play the same way and you hammer in the second one.
Yep.
When you're a great team and things are going good for you, that just happens.
Yeah. It's not even a spoken thing. It's just a calmness, right?
Yeah, and again, like I say, you're going to lose games some nights, whether you're a great team or you play a lesser team.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to happen some nights. It's the way the game goes. But if you come out and you work and you give 100% effort and you're committed to what the belief is, that's how you do it. Look at Vegas last year.
Yeah.
I mean, these teams that go in Colorado, when they get 1-0, they make it 3-0 at the end of the first, and then they knock teams down. They don't feel good about themselves. And in course of a hockey game, let's say you end up beating them, you end up winning 7 out of 10 games through the course of the year. You got yourself one heck of a hockey team.
Yeah, no question about it. All right, no Travis Sanheim tonight. It's the Flyers. Sam Emerson gets the start against Alex Lyon. Stay tuned. Tim Saunders and Todd Fedoruk, they've got the countdown to face-off, followed by all the first period action, and that's coming up right after this. You've been listening to Flyers Game Day on the BetRivers.com Flyers Broadcast Network.
This is Flyers